Hello, and welcome to this brief remote learning expectations video. We will jump right into it. First, to begin, my name is Mr. Workman. I am your teacher this year. I teach geospace, earth system science, as well as Mind Center. If at any point you have questions, you simply send me an email. My email is plastered all over the place. It's on websites, it's on Google Classroom. Please do not hesitate if you are ever confused to reach out. We are in a kind of new adventurous exploration and experimentation in remote learning, and so we will be following something similar to a flipped classroom model, in which case you will be checking in Google Classroom early in the week to see things that I've posted. I will only post once really a week, the agenda items that we're going to be doing. We will meet synchronously in class at the scheduled class time, and then anything that we are not able to finish within that class time is done asynchronously or outside of class. So let's look at the difference maybe between synchronous and asynchronous. But first, a few of the technology pieces that we're going to be dealing with. Google Classroom is your first stop. That is what you check every week. We'll be doing some Pear Deck. We'll be meeting with either Google Meet or Microsoft Teams, depending on the needs of the day. So you'll be going to Classroom to find out exactly where we're meeting. These other ones may look or may not look familiar, but we'll definitely be using them this year. Typically asynchronous. Asynchronous meaning not at the same time. We are not synced up together at the same time. This would be you looking early in the week at the Google Classroom posting and looking over the weekly agenda. This is going to look like maybe some self-paced Pear Deck slides, or maybe some videos, or an ed puzzle, or a play posit, maybe a independent assignment, maybe some type of discussion, some type of activity. For all of those, you're going to want to engage. Synchronously or together, again, Google Classroom is your spot, but we will also be meeting either with Google Meet or Microsoft Teams. You will just look that week right before we meet at our class time to know which platform we're using. You'll look over the agenda, have it open while we meet so that this is your perfect time to ask any questions that you may have. I will most likely be going over some examples, giving more detail on those activities during the week, but this is also a chance for us to participate and interact with each other, maybe play some games or do some activities of that. So that's what our synchronous time looks like. I'm going to try really hard to make sure that all of our work or all of our assignments and learning is done within the synchronous time, so that you don't necessarily have homework. I know we're all working from home essentially, and so homework doesn't really apply, but I'd like to keep everything we do, if at all possible, contained with the time frame of our scheduled meeting times, so that there's not a whole lot of stress as far as screen time and homework and things of that nature. Guidelines for when we meet in a face-to-face sort of virtual video chat way are these. Okay, for meeting in Google Meet, allow me to start the meet. I should be in there early, but if for whatever reason it says that you're the first to join, just wait until you see me in there. That'll make things go a lot smoother. Make sure that you have your camera on. You can blur the background. We'll go over kind of those things, and we'll learn a lot early on. But make sure you're muted, especially if you have music or things in the background, dogs barking. Like, I'll have kids sometimes running around my house, toddlers. So I'll make sure that when I'm not the one sharing, I will have my mic muted. When you want to share something, do the classic hand raise. You can do that virtually. We'll go over some of those things when we're getting together. Again, a lot of this is going to be us figuring it out as we go, working together to figure it out. But that chat on the side of either Google Meet or Teams is where we're going to be participating and engaging with each other primarily. Number 4, this is huge for me. Okay, and if you've taken my classes before, which some of I know you have, respect is very important to me. And so please, always in the back of your mind, be thinking about being kind and respectful to everyone else sharing our space. We're going to try and learn as much as possible. I think we're going to have a lot of fun. Even though this is a totally new experience, I think it is going to be pretty fun, but it's not going to be fun unless we're respectful and kind to one another consistently. And so what would apply in a normal classroom applies here, right? That respect simply must be there for our community to thrive. Some of the things we'll be using, primarily Google Classroom, right? That's your first stop. You're always checking that before a synchronous meeting, maybe early on in the week, like a Monday, even if you don't have the class scheduled that day. Take a look over the agenda. Take a look through some of the items. I will be posting weekly agendas, and I'll go over that in a moment. We'll also be doing some things with Pear Deck. We'll probably jump into that even this first week, just to see what it's like to do more of the instructor pace, but there are also going to be ones that you will log in and do on your own. From me, okay, you can expect a consistent routine. So all assignments are going to be posted at the beginning of the week. I will post them on Classroom. Here's just an example from my Geospace class. Here will be a quick weekly agenda, and it'll have a login to a Google site that has more details on it, right? And that Google site is going to be something that I'm going to use not only because it's a little easier to see things and easier to add things to than Classroom, but this is your first stop. It'll always have the link to the site that has more information. This is where you're going to be turning in work. But notice today, or this week, you just have 4 things to complete. It'll say, course website has specific instructions. Okay, you click the link to go to the site, and you're at the site. Okay, so there's a home page, and then the units as well as the weekly agendas will be posted on the site. So here's that agenda again, and then below is going to be detailed directions to complete them. Okay, so back to my what to expect. So that's going to be how activities and how all work in the class is done. It should be clearly communicated to you on a weekly basis. You'll have all the way up until that Sunday evening of that week to complete all the activities. And then you can expect some timely, hopefully, feedback from me. I'm going to try to give you guys a variety of things to do. I'm going to try to get videos and interactive content and essentially try and do the best that I can given our remote environment to make things interesting, okay? To make you not bored, but also be expected to try things that you've never tried before, okay? I'm going to try and be organized, keep things consistent. There might be some shifting because, again, we're in a kind of a fluid environment that we're not sure exactly what the next week holds, but I'm going to try to communicate to you as clearly as possible. These are the times I'm available. I'm off 1st, 4th, and 6th, so during those scheduled times, you could expect to write me an email and definitely get some timely feedback. But I'm always available by appointment on Fridays, but also any day. As long as you reach out to me, we can connect over email or video chat, and that's no problem. Okay, so and I'll respond definitely within 24 hours, but usually much quicker than that if it's during school hours. That is all. So just keep this in mind. This is a work in progress, and there's more to come. There will be continual updates. We might be shifting things on their heads, so expect change. Be ready to roll. Be ready to just kind of be in it, and we'll get through it together. I think it's gonna be fun. I think the potential exists, and so on to the next thing. See ya.